So what we're doing here is we're emptying out this filtration system, and as you've seen in a past video, is that these are actually lava rocks. And so I'm just shoveling it out. I took the filters off the top, and we're going to have, you might notice that the aquaculture system is gone. It didn't work out as well as I liked it to because I didn't have consistent power. By the way, I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recycle this container, this water filtration system. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take all the rocks out of it. I'm going to move it to another location, and then I'll reassemble it. Now, a reminder, the design has a T, so this pipe in the center is actually got a T on the bottom. That's where the water intake is. And then here is where the water outtake. It can filter the water of about 2,500 gallon system. It can filter more, but it's going to be limited by how much water can flow through the barrel itself. What happens is the water flows in the top of the barrel, down to the bottom, spreads out, and then seeps up to the top and overflows back into the pond area itself. It is going to take out the biosolids, so you want to be able to pump in as dirty water as you can get, and then it will build up some kind of biosolids in the bottom. So one design change I'm going to make is actually add a big drain on the bottom here. So I'll drill a hole in here and put like a big 2-inch drain there so I can drain out the biosolids and then run it consistent. But I have another one of these that's been running for 2 years now. I think it's been running 2 years. I'm not sure, but it's been running a while. But what happens is all these little micro cavities will become colonies for bacteria and microbes and other creatures that will actually eat the sludge that forms in the bottom of the system. Now, you don't have to drain the solids out of the bottom of a filter like this. And by the way, it's laying on its side. This was normally would stand upright. But you don't have to drain the solids out of a system like this, because as long as there's water flow, the little creatures will eat the waste. So let's say you have a 4,000 or a 5,000 gallon system that's running fish. You could add additional biofilters like this, and then you could let one sit out of the loop in order for the microbes to eat out the bottom. But you really don't have to, because it's going to really support that nitrogen conversion to nitrates, and then you can have plants and other things. But long story short, once it's filled up with rocks and water, it is 50 gallons of water at about 8 pounds a gallon. So it's a 400 pound system, and then it has all these rocks in it. It's a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be to move it. And so that's something you want to keep in mind, is once you set up something like this, it's going to stay where it is. And you're also going to set up at an elevated position above your pond or your aquaculture system. And this is really important to remember, because now you're pumping water uphill. So one of the challenges with what was here in this cascading system is that you almost needed to be able to pump the entire gallons of water every minute, and be able to do that nonstop in order to get the water crystal clear. And that means that the filter was almost touching the top of this trellis, and then the bottom was at the ground. And so that 6 foot of lift that was necessary, and to have the extra overhead so that if the water's got solids in it or anything, I would have needed a bigger sump pump or a stronger sump pump. And so I couldn't power that off of this system here. So we've got, it had up to 3 batteries at one time. It's a solar system. It is fully charged, but it's only running like 300 watts. The 1,500 watt, the 2,000 watt inverters just drain the batteries down so much. So again, I'm moving the entire system. It'll be on a house power. I've ran systems like this on house power, and I'll try to link to the other videos. But again, it'll keep the water crystal clear as long as it continues to run, and as long as you're pumping in more water than is draining out. So basically, you keep positive pressure in the system. If it does build up sludge in the bottom and stuff like that, that's a indicator that your microbes are not, you don't have enough microbes in there, and you can add a separate of your fish. you can add a septic tank pellet to kind of get that primed, but it's not something you're going to do with fish in it. It's something you'd have to look at a little bit more. I'm just throwing the idea out there because that's what I've done in the past to get these systems going. It is basically biological filtration meant for dirty pond water to make it clean enough for fish. So basically you can pump water out of a pond into this, have it cascade back into the pond, and have fish breeder tanks or raise fish in tanks. If it freezes, you have to make sure that the whole thing doesn't freeze solid, which it doesn't tend to as long as the water keeps moving. So you need to have adequate power. That was one of my challenges. And then if you want that water crystal clear because it's some kind of, like an ornamental pond, or you want to be able to see your fish, then you need to be able to pump more water through this system than it can typically handle. So you want to be able to make sure that the water level is always higher than that drain right there. So you basically, when this is stood up, your water is going to be pushing through it at a generous pace. And then of course you can add additional systems like this. So you want to have a pump that has some headspace in it to lift the water up high enough to lift the solids up out of the bottom of the pond to basically feed 2 or 3 of these things, and then you can increase the amount of gallons. But again, if you want crystal clear water, then there's other filtration that could work. There's actually biomedium that you can use and other filtration you can use. This was just a low-cost way to get started using a 55-gallon drum, some PVC pipe, and volcanic rock like you use for landscaping, and it works extremely well, just assuming you have consistent power. In the event that you lose power, this thing will stop filtering, and then you have the chance of building up. If you have too many fish, you have the chance of it building up in the fish system. If you're interested in this kind of thing, be sure to ask questions in the comments below. We will set up an aquaculture system that's much larger because I do like to eat fish, and I would like to raise more Virginia native fish than tilapia and stuff like that. So not to stock a pond or anything, but because those fish don't require permits, and they're better tasting even when raised in captivity than some of the tilapia or carp that's available. I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead. Visit us at www.prosperityhomestead.org, and we've just been walking through this move of this filtration system, some of the challenges that you'll face, and some of the benefits of this low-cost bulk filtration. Thanks for watching.